everyone, this is Emma and she is 2 months old now. Time is flying by so quickly, and today we wanted to share with you how Emma has been able to sleep through most of the night with only one feeding at night at 5 weeks old. It's kind of a long process, and we didn't really actively try to train her or anything like that on our own. We basically followed our pediatrician's advice. So in our 2-week appointment, the pediatrician said, well, it is time to train Emma to know the difference between day and night, because most babies have day-night reversal, right? And Emma did too. So in the very beginning, she was sleeping very, very well during the day, but not really sleeping at night. So the first thing that we had to do was establish a bedtime routine. Yes, we started doing that at 2 weeks old. And the pediatrician said for babies, their nighttime starts anywhere between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. And then their morning starts 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So it's like a 12-hour cycle. So we started to put Emma to bed at around the 6 to 7 p.m. mark, which is super early because before we did that, she was kind of sleeping at 10 p.m. or so. Here's Emma. Here's baby. Yes. You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? Yeah. So, to establish her bedtime, it was a very big time shift change for us. We didn't know that for babies, their bedtime would start that early, right? So we basically needed to figure out when we should have dinner. Was it before or after her bedtime? Since we needed to put her to sleep in the 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. mark. So we experimented with different kind of schedules for us too. So that was a little bit challenging. So once we figured out how to get her to go to bed, and by going to bed, it means putting her in her bed in a dark room, basically. So turning off all the lights and minimizing all the noises that she would hear. And of course, during the day, you want everything to be very bright, have lots of noise, just so that she understands the difference between day and night. Okay, so that's pretty much the first milestone, is to establish, actually first 2 milestones, establish a bedtime routine and helping the baby understand the difference between day and night. Okay, and then the second step, well actually the third step, is to have a pretty regular schedule. So at around 2 weeks, she was breastfeeding every hour and a half ish, which is very frequent. She was probably going through a growth spurt at the time, so we were feeding fairly frequently. And between the 2-week mark and her 1 month, pretty much she was feeding and sleeping, so eat and sleep and eat and sleep. So we were doing that every, like I said, 1.5 hour to every 2 hours. So pretty much the whole day is just eat, sleep, and then at night she was waking up a little bit less than 2 hours, so it was around 3 hours. And then she was waking up every 3 hours or so before she was 1 month, like in between 2 weeks and 1 month. Now, once she hit the 1 month mark, it was pretty apparent that she was able to make big improvements already. It's amazing how fast they grow, right? So right when she was 1 month, she was able to feed every 3 hours or so. And then the doctor said, well, now you don't want to have the baby associate eating with sleeping. Otherwise, when they wake up in the middle of the night and if they want to sleep, they'll think, oh, they need to feed in order to sleep. So in order to break that cycle, during the day we did eat, play, and sleep. So you insert that play period in the middle, in between eating and sleeping. So we started doing that when she was 1 month, and then during the day she was able to feed every 3 hours, and then shortly after we followed the eat, play, sleep routine, she was able to only waking up once at night to feed, which is very awesome, right? So we put her to sleep at around I would say average 7 p.m. and then she would wake up at around 3 a.m. Yeah, 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. is pretty good. And then she would wake up at around 7 a.m. and that's when that's when she would wake up and start our day. So that's pretty much how we were able to get Emma to sleep, mostly through the night. Although the official definition of sleeping through the night is every 6 hours. So with that definition, then you could say, yes, that Emma was sleeping through the night at 5 weeks old. Basically, shortly after 1 month when we started to follow the eat, play, sleep routine. But colloquially, I would think she still wakes up once at night, even though it's more than 6 hours. But anyway, so she wakes up at around 3 a.m. And then goes back to sleep, and then wakes up at 7 a.m. most of the time. But of course, she has off days. So, and I think, of course, every baby is different. And we didn't know how Emma was going to respond to a routine or to a schedule like this. We just did everything the doctor told us to do, and everything seems to be working out very well. And now that she's 2 months, our goal is to get her to feed every 4 hours instead of every 3 hours during the day. And in order to do that, so basically we try to stretch her feeding by distracting her, by playing with her, keeping her busy doing other things. So we sing, we play during the day, and now I've been able to stretch it to maybe 3.5 hours sometimes. Of course, not all the time yet. So that's what I'm trying to do next, is to get her to feed every 4 hours during the day, and then that's hopefully going to train her to take a You don't want me to fail. So the goal is to get her to eat more each time now that her stomach is getting bigger, and then at night hopefully she would take less and less in the middle of the night with every feeding. So I'm trying to decrease the amount of time it takes to breastfeed her in the middle of the night. I haven't been too successful in doing that, because last time I tried, she was like waking up very often because I was kind of popping her off my boob. So we're still working on that. The goal is when she's 4 months, hopefully she could. Yes, baby, hi. The goal is for her to sleep 12 hours at night, and that will be really good because that's when I go back to work. So we'll see if she's able to do that. And yes, and I think she's getting a little tired, so I'm gonna go put her down for a nap. See you next time. Bye. Emma say bye.